is up by $280, trading at $6,196 per ton. We'll take you around the world now in 60 seconds. And now to the big one. The Ghana Statistical Service, GSS, has revealed that informal cross-border trade, ICBT, between Ghana and its three land neighbors, Togo, Burkina Faso, and Cote d'Ivoire, was valued at 7.4 billion cedis in the fourth quarter of 2024.
The informal trade accounted for about 4.3% of Ghana's total trade for the quarter in question. Now, this percentage, 4.3%, might sound modest at first, but it represents an enormous amount of real economic activity. Every cedi in that figure reflects goods, it reflects people, and it reflects communities engaged in daily cross-border exchange that until now has gone largely unmeasured. What these findings tell us is simple, but very, very powerful. We are looking at a significant share of Ghana's trade with neighboring countries, which happens outside the formal system. These are not invisible or marginal transactions. They are the trade that feeds households, supplies local markets, and keeps border economies moving.
The Ghana Association of Banks says its members are increasingly exploring alternative investment options with higher returns, including issuing out more loans as appetite for Treasury bills continues to wane. This follows a series of undersubscribed government auctions in recent months, despite Treasury bill yields remaining above the current inflation rate.
CEO of the association, John Ewa, said recent macroeconomic gains have helped restore investor confidence, prompting a shift toward other sectors of the economy.
It's not just the banks, it's individuals, it's households, it's the pension funds, the business community, and the cash flow cycle. The fact that once the economy is correcting itself, rates are low, the yields on the T-bills are very low. Obviously, investors will be looking for other avenues, and as banks, the other avenue that is available will be to look for risky assets or risk assets and channel these funds over there.
Meanwhile, financial analyst Joe Jackson says the government must return to the capital market to fund critical infrastructure projects. He argues this has become necessary as the government is no longer able to raise sufficient revenue from the Treasury bills market due to rampant oversubscriptions.
I think what is going on shouldn't scare anyone yet.
Okay.
In any case, some of us are of the view that it is time now, given the discipline that we have, for the government to try and raise more money outside the shores. It's time to start thinking about it and do something about it.
This comes despite the World Bank's earlier caution to Ghana against a premature return to the international capital market, stressing that rushing back could send the wrong signal to investors, risking a reversal of gains made through debt restructuring and exposing the country to unsustainable borrowing costs.
Meanwhile, government has announced a massive borrowing target of 75.7 billion cedis via the Treasury bill market for the final quarter of 2025. The bulk of this sum, approximately 67 billion cedis, is earmarked for rolling over maturing debt, with the government seeking 8.12 billion cedis in fresh funds to finance its activities.
The borrowing plan is heavily reliant on short-term instruments, with the 91-day Treasury bill expected to remain the dominant source of funding in the short-term securities market. The ambitious Q4 target comes at a time when market sentiment remains soft. The latest Treasury bill auction underscored this weakness, clearing 55.51% below the targeted amount of 6.58 billion cedis. However, market analysts suggest that the Treasury has taken steps to re-engage investors. According to Data Bank research, the modest rise observed in recent years reflects repricing considerations to attract demand. The strategy is expected to improve investor interest in government securities without compromising the Treasury's overall cash management framework. In the immediate future, the Treasury plans to raise 6.82 billion cedis through the issuance of the 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day bills to cover 6.65 billion cedis in maturing obligations, signaling a net increase in issuance to meet refinancing needs.
Now, in a bid to reduce Ghana's reliance on rice imports, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, says it is working with key stakeholders to boost local rice yields by more than 50%. The initiative aims not only to increase output, but also to improve grain quality to meet international standards and suit Ghanaian consumer preferences. According to the Observatory of Economic Complexity, Ghana imported $342 million worth of rice in 2023, ranking 29th globally out of 223 countries. That year, rice was Ghana's fifth most imported commodity out of 1,177 products tracked. JICA hopes to shift this narrative through its Ghana Rice Production Improvement Project, GRIPE. Chief Advisor on Rice Cultivation under the GRIPE initiative, Nokwaki Oizumi, spoke to journalists on the sidelines of the Africa Field Innovation Center of Agricultural Technology seminar.
Actually, not only seed, but also we need to introduce good agriculture practices. So we are trying to increase about 1 ton per hectare. So our baseline, the average yield was about 1.9 ton. So we want to increase the average yield to 2.9 ton or 3 ton.
JICA says it remains committed to strengthening partnerships with Ghana to advance the country's agricultural sector.
Our focus will be always in technical cooperation, so technical assistance, capacity development, together with some grant aid projects. As we have explained, we are planning to start a new grant aid project on rice seeds.
And that'll be all for Bisbrief here on TV3. For more business stories, please visit our website at 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for watching. As always, please stay safe. Up next is News in Brief, and George is on standby.
Details of these stories coming up shortly. Stay with us. My name is George Quinn, and it's always a pleasure coming your way with updates on News in Brief. On to our very first story. The Ghana National PTA Council has sued the GES and the Attorney General, accusing them of overstepping their mandate and attempting to regulate a private association. They argue that the service has no legal authority to control its affairs or redefine its identity. The National Secretary of the Ghana National PTA, Ralph Babson, spoke on Agenda last night. Take a listen.
That the PTAs have moved from the traditional PTAs to the modern PTAs. The days that PTAs were just existed in schools and then they could manage their affairs have grown. And every organism grows. Journalists can be there in their small when they decide to come together to have a mother umbrella body to regulate their space better. And the law provides for that. I just think that we have to respect the law and allow the law to work. When you read this Pre-Tertiary Education Act, which gives the GES a mandate to operate, there's nowhere in this Pre-Tertiary Education Act that says that PTAs are under the GES to regulate it. So when GES, under the previous administration, the minister and GES decides that, oh, they are changing the PTA to make it PA, they were changing our identity. And we said, look, you can't change our identity. We're an association. So we resisted it, and we made noise about it, and you all supported and realized that, look, we're all parents. This is a non-statutory body that is private in nature and a statutory body, public in nature, trying to regulate. We are in different space.
So why have you still gone ahead to sue?
So the current government, with a very good will, made statements, and we think that it was okay. Only for us to have engagements. We were part of the National Education Forum and a whole lot of meetings. We met the Director General, and he told us, look, all what happened under the previous regime will be a thing of the past. They will never go back to those, back and visit those things. Only for us to be ambushed. With another guideline, they've reduced the 14-page guidelines of the former regime to a 10-page guideline, and trying to tell us that they want to be more Catholic than the Pope. PTAs are not under them. We are parents. They can regulate us.
And now, away from education, road contractors have welcomed government's plans to introduce a rigid axle weighing regime to halt deterioration of road networks as a result of overloading of the axle. The rehabilitation and dualization of Takrade Agodan-Kwanta Road have reached a 70% completion. Contractors fear a government does not take a stringent decision on the use of the corridor by heavy-duty trucks. It will outlive its usefulness in no time. Government is set to introduce a new rigid weighing mechanism for trucks and other heavy-duty vehicles in the next budget the president has announced.
All assurances have been given to us, and we are hoping that very soon funds will be released to us. You know, as of now, I'm speaking, we haven't received any funds. But if all should go well, we will finish this project ahead of schedule. And our target is hopefully next year, July, we have to finish 100%. Currently, we are 70% progress. Yeah. I'm very sure, 100% sure that the road is going to last as per the design. And we are very sure. One thing that we've also notified the authorities, especially with the minister, is the axle load. You know, the axle load can also damage the road. If the load, we have excessive load flying on the road at a regular instances. But if that one is also taken care of or controlled, then with us, we are sure with the quality that we have put in place, and then the meeting the specification, I'm sure that the road.
Well, that's all time will allow us for this afternoon. For more news updates, just log on to our website, s3news.com. Alternatively, you can join my colleagues Martin Asiedu Data and Asha Yakubu at 7 on News 360. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. I'm George Queenie.